Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss more details on this bipolar junction transistors. In the last class, we just introduced what is BJT. Okay, so we have discussed typical application of BJT. So BJT stands for bipolar junction transistors. It's a three-terminal device. It's one of the most widely used device among various semiconductor devices. Okay. Uh, if you look at the history, this device was invented in the year 1949, uh, and today you can see that most of the electronic systems that contains the bipolar junction transistors. So without this, you cannot do any functions. You cannot implement the systems, electronic systems, particularly without bipolar junction transistor here. Okay. Shortly, we abbreviated this bipolar junction transistor as BJT. Coming to this is a module 3, a chapter from the Streetman textbook. Even for this chapter also we are following the Streetman textbook. I suggest students to follow the textbook, okay, and the study material. And for this chapter we don't have any PowerPoint presentations. If in case any requirement, we will just show you the PPT presentation also. But already this handouts has been uploaded in Google Classroom, which you can download. Okay. Coming to qualitative discussion, what do we mean by qualitative discussion? Do you have any idea about the meaning of the qualitative discussions or qualitative view, what we call? It is one of the most widely used term nowadays, qualitative discussion. So that means here we don't pay attention anything related to the objective or the statistics here. We just work on the empirical relation, or you can say this is subjective based analysis we will do. And in a nutshell, if I want to say, a qualitative discussion means it is an abstract view. We are not going to discuss about statistics or the objective things in the qualitative discussion here. Okay. So to explain this bipolar junction transistor, we mainly talk about qualitative discussion, and in particularly we focus on charge transport mechanism. So once we understand how exactly charges are transported between the different regions of bipolar junction transistor, so we can understand the working principle of the BJT. Understand operation of a transistor, and also you need to understand the charge distribution in the transistor. So once we know each region how exactly charges are distributed, that you can relate to the three terminals in the BJT. Okay. So namely we have an emitter, there is a base, there is a collector here. So we can connect, relate the regions with these three terminals of the transistor. And also we can also understand the physical characteristics of the device. So once we know the within each of these regions how exactly charge transport happens, or charge distribution happens, how that leads to the current flow within each of these terminals, and finally you can obtain the physical characteristics here. When we say physical characteristics, you may need to plot input characteristics, output characteristics of the device, and analyze the working principle of the device. Okay. We need to understand even current flow mechanism in a transistor, and also the control mechanisms. So this is very important. Unlike in a PN junction, we don't have any control mechanism. So PN junction, just it is an input current, whatever we give between the PN junction. So current straight away goes from P to N. If you take a PN junction here, and this is a one way device. Okay. So that means whenever you forward bias this by connecting P to the positive and the N to the negative, current flows from P to N. Okay. So under reverse bias, the very less amount of current flows. Forward bias current is going to be milliampere of current will flow. In reverse bias, if you connect in the reverse polarity, P to the negative, N to the positive, that's called reverse bias. A microampere of current flows here. So in conclusion, we can say that PN junction is a one way device. It conducts current, and exponential current flows in the forward direction, and negligible amount of current flows in the reverse direction. So that is from N to P. This is reverse current here. Okay. So basically BJT is a one way device. We don't have any control mechanism in this, only the input is a control here. If you reduce the current, output current also get reduced. If you increase the input current, output current also get increased here. So that means we don't have any third terminal here to control the current movement from one input terminal to other output terminal here. Okay, that's the drawback of the PN junction here. However, the PN junction concepts, okay, the fundamentals that we have understood, with respect to the PN junction, that can be applied to the bipolar junction transistor. Okay. We need to discover even second order effects. Second order effects in the sense, there is a tunneling effect, the hot electron concept. So those phenomena, are called as second order effects here. So for the time being, we suggest to ignore second order effects, because this makes our understanding difficult if we include second order effects while understanding the operation of the BJT. But for the time being, if you can ignore second order effects and try to understand the operation of the BJT, later on we can add them, okay, we can include them in our BJT and see how exactly second order affects the performance of the BJT, that we can take up in a later stage. Okay. Biasing also plays an important role. Whenever we use BJT, from amplifier point of view, we need to establish proper, the biasing. I mean, the operating point has to be set properly, so that the BJT is operated in the active region. Okay, so for the faithful amplification here, to operate this, with the proper operating point, we need to establish biasing. Various biasing schemes are there. So we need to identify, which biasing schemes helps us to operate BJT in the active region, so that it can be used as a faithful amplifier. Okay. We also use BJT in switching circuits. So mainly BJT is one of the most popular, fast acting electronic switch. Okay, therefore, when you want to use BJT as a on switch, or it can be used as an off switch, so we need to again set up the proper biasing again. So we will come across different regions of operations here. As I already mentioned, that if you operate the BJT in the active region, it can be used as an amplifier. So now the biasing scheme helps us to operate BJT in the active region. Similarly, if you want to operate BJT as a switch or switching circuits, okay, mainly to perform on and off operations using BJT, we need to again establish proper biasing schemes here. Again, operating in active region here may not work like a switch. So we need to operate in the cutoff region and a linear region or saturation region, what we call, to work for a BJT as a switch here. So here the two region comes into a play. One is saturation region. Later on we will explain this, what all this the saturation region, and there is something called as cutoff region here. In the saturation region, BJT will act like a on switch. In the cutoff region, BJT will act like a off switch here. Whereas when we want to use BJT as an amplifier, we need to operate in active region. Okay. So these are all the regions under the characteristics. If you look at BJT output characteristics, we will come across this active region. We will come across where exactly the curves are constant. That region we will interpret as a active region. And saturation region, you can see that there is increasing values of the current, okay, for the equivalent the voltage. And cutoff region, even though when you make the applied voltage less than the threshold, the device will enter into the cutoff here. So between, if you operate BJT in these two regions, it will act like a on and off switch. If you operate BJT in the active region, it will work like an amplifier here. Now question rises here, how do we operate BJT in the active region, or to use it as an amplifier, or saturation or cutoff region to use it as a switch? It all depends on biasing. So biasing means you need to use external components like resistors and the supply voltage, DC supply voltage particularly, to operate that in the proper, if you establish proper voltages and currents, then definitely you can make the BJT to operate in the active region. And similar thing even here also. Okay, biasing means you are going to use external components like resistors and DC power supply, so that if you use proper values of those resistors and the DC voltage, then definitely you can operate in saturation or cutoff region. That helps us to use BJT as a switch. Okay. Now let us move to the further now. So in all our discussion, we are going to use PNP transistor, because that will ease our most of our analysis. Okay, so for most of our illustrations, the reason would be the whole current flow and whole flow and the current flow. Okay, so if you look at the directions of the current flow and direction of the whole movement are going to be the same direction. So therefore, So, PNP transistor, if we consider in the illustration purpose to all our the illustration that is our the understanding. So, once we understand the charge movement and the current flow in the PNP transistor, easily we can relate that to NPN transistor also. Okay. So, the direction of current and the charges what we have seen here whole, and it is exactly reverse for the NPN transistor. So, in PNP transistor we consider the whole moment and even current flow, whereas here we need to look into the electron movement and the current flow here. So, that means if you understand PNP transistor, it is easy for us to understand NPN transistor. Now, let us discuss the more details of the more details on fundamentals of the BJT operation here. Okay. So, once we know the foundation of the BJT and its operation, then you can easily discuss various applications related to the BJT. So, bipolar junction transistor is basically a simple device, electronic device, and which we focus largely on the qualitative view. Already I mentioned qualitative view means it is an abstract view. Okay, we are not going to discuss any statistics here. So, it is basically abstract view, and we mainly focus on empirical relationship between the currents and charge transport mechanism here. So, that kind of discussion is called as a qualitative discussion here. We mainly look here bipolar junction transistor from qualitative perspective, not from quantitative perspective. Okay. So, now let us define some terms here. So, to gain the physical understanding of the carrier transport through the device. So, here if you look at this diagram here, this diagram has been taken to explain how 3-terminal device is going to be more useful compared to the 2-terminal device like a PN junction. So, this is an example, though this is we are not specific to any device like BJT or FET, field effect transistor. This concept what we have, the diagram what we have shown here, it is applicable to all 3-terminal devices. In the sense, it is not only applicable to bipolar junction transistor, but also applicable to the 3-terminal devices like field effect transistor. Okay. Let us see here, this is a terminal 1, let us consider this is a terminal number 1, and this is terminal number 2, and this is terminal number 3. Totally there are 3 terminals. This is analogous to the BJT, even though BJT is also made up of 3 terminals, emitter, base and collector here. So, now you can see here there is a supply here VCC, which we have taken here in this case as a plus 5 volts. Current flows from supply to the ground here as long as when the switch is turned on. When you close this switch, okay, if you make this switch to align in this position, then supply from the supply voltage, current will start flowing in this direction here. Okay. So, here the current that is flowing from supply voltage VCC to the ground, you can make this current as maximum, or you can also make it this as minimum or 0. Okay. It is possible by just controlling this, by operating this 3rd terminal here. Okay. So, that means the current flow from the source to the ground can be controlled, like you can make it this current as maximum value, and you can make this current as minimum value by just having this 3rd terminal called control terminal here. So, in this case, in this the diagram, the 3rd terminal acts like a control. Okay. Now, you can imagine that if you can compare link with the bipolar junction transistor, this is nothing but it is nothing but our base. Okay. So, this is an emitter, and this acts like, this is analogous to emitter, this is analogous to collector. Okay. So, always emitter injects the charge carriers and collector collect the charge carriers. The current flow between from the emitter or charge carriers movement from the emitter to the collector can be controlled by the base terminal here or 3rd terminal in general. This diagram is also applicable to field effect transistor. In the field effect transistor, we have something called source, and we have a drain. 1 minute. Class ಇವಾಗಿದೆ. Okay. So, current here you can see that here this current here can be maximized or minimized depending on the 3rd terminal called as a control terminal. In our case, it is going to be the for bipolar transistor, this is the base. And if you look at the field effect transistor, this is emitter is analogous to source, and the collector is analogous to drain, and this base is analogous to gate here. So, since I am even expiring the field effect transistor here itself, because you can understand the fundamentals of FET also from this diagram here. Okay. I hope this you understood now. This diagram gives you a clear view how third terminal is very important in controlling the current flow from the terminal 1 to terminal 2. Okay. So, the two terminals can be controlled by a small changes in the current at a third terminal. This is what you are seeing here. Okay. Okay. Now, here there are the two diagrams which you can see here. One is the first diagram A, which is nothing but shows a PN junction which is under reverse bias. This is the reverse voltage. Let us indicate this reverse voltage as E, so that you can see that negative terminal is connected to the P region of a semiconductor, and positive terminal through the resistor is connected to the N terminal of a semiconductor, and this complete PN junction is reverse biased, and you can see here this dotted line shows that edge of a depletion region to the N side, and this is edge of a depletion region to the P side here. So, this diagram completely is an reverse biased PN junction here, and you can see that if we inject photons onto this, definitely you can create an electron hole pairs within this, and you can allow the current to flow from N side to the P side here, since it is reverse biased due to the photons. Okay. So, injected onto the depletion region. So, it creates electron hole pairs in the N region and in the P region as well as in the depletion region here. The field is acting from the N to P, this is the direction of the electric field, and this causes the holes to move from the back to the P side. So, current flow will takes place from the N side to the P side here. So, this is the direction of the current here. So, in the absence of this light here, so the current is going to be called as reverse saturation current, that we indicate as I naught here, and as if you keep increasing this number of the photons indicated, so definitely optical generation rate also keeps increases, and to this additional current like IL will keep flowing from N side to the P side here. Remember that both currents are going to be negative. So, the current that flows from P to N is taken as positive, and current that is flowing from N to P is taken as negative here. So, both currents are going to be negative here. You can indicate that with minus here in this direction like this. Okay. So, I naught is the current without in the absence of light. This current is called as reverse saturation current, and IL is nothing but it is a current due to the illumination when the photons are falling on this. These photons, photonic energy H into mu, if this is going to be greater than the forbidden gap, so then definitely it creates an electron hole pair in the all the three regions, neutral P, neutral in depletion region and neutral N region, and the field will make the charge carriers to move from N side to the P side, and current flow will result from N side to the P side here. So, net current flowing in the illuminated PN junction is minus of I naught plus IL. This is the current that flows here. So, this already we have seen in the module 2. The reason I would like to clarify that little later, why we have taken this this diagram once again, and we have also shown here the characteristics here of the photodiode, as you can see here. So, this is the reverse saturation current in the absence of light. So, this is the current that flows in the reverse biased PN junction. This is the direction of current is. So, you can see here this is the direction of current here. Okay. Current flows from N side to the P side here. So, in the absence of the illumination, this is the dark current I naught will be flowing, or reverse saturation current flows. As the intensity keeps increases, the optical generation rate also keeps increases, electron hole pairs, more and more electron hole pairs are generated, you will get more and more current here. So, this is the level of current for intensity 1 and the level of current for intensity 2, intensity 3. This is the current keeps increasing in the reverse bias as and when illumination keeps increasing here. So, this characteristics shows the junction IV characteristics as a function of the electron hole pairs. Electron hole pairs are generated as you keep increasing the continuously the number of photons injecting onto this diode surface. Okay. I do not want to spend more time on this, since we have already spent a lot of time in discussion of the optical generation and one photodiode, photodetector, solar cells. We have discussed many things, and we will continue further here. We can connect this this diagram the electron hole pair generation and current flow here to that of the BJT. So, that is why this reverse biased junction is considered here. and I explained you the operation of this because I am going to link this with the bipolar junction transistor. Let us see this how we can connect the how we establish relationship with bipolar junction transistor here. Now, let us come back to the bipolar junction transistor. So, this topic is a discussion of bipolar junction transistor using reverse biased PN junction. Just now we have seen here there is a reverse biased PN junction. In the absence of light, I naught current flows. In the presence of light, I naught plus IL current flows from N side to the P side here. Okay. Now, we will again consider this the reverse biased PN junction, which is shown in figure A. This is the figure A, and the current flowing in the reverse mode is also referred as reverse saturation current. We already mentioned about this. I naught is the current that is flowing in the reverse direction here. Now, I naught reverse saturation current is a function of electron hole pair generation. So, I naught is a function of electron hole pair generation. What do we mean by this? If electron hole pair generation increases, then current definitely I naught also keeps increases here. Okay. So, I naught and the electron hole pair generation, they are directly proportional to each other here. However, I naught is independent of the reverse voltage here. As you see here, though we have applied here reverse voltage here, the amount of current that I naught flowing here, it does not depend on this reverse the voltage what we have applied. Okay. That is what the point we would like to make it clear here. The I naught reverse saturation current is a function of electron hole pair generation, but it is independent. It does not depend on the reverse voltage, or it does not depend even on the electric field, okay, that exists between the N and P regions here. Okay. The whole current depends on the whole current depends on the EHP generation within the diffusion length of the junction and do not depend on the speed at which holes are swept across the depletion layer by the field. What do we mean by that? So, what I am trying to say is this current I naught that is flowing from N side to the P side, it does not depend on the potential that we have applied here. It does not depend even on the electric field, at what rate this electric field is sweeping the charge carriers from N side to the P side. Okay. It all depends on the current that is I naught, it all depends on how many electron hole pairs are generated, number of electron hole pairs generated here. It does not depend on the field, it does not depend upon the electric potential what we apply here. Okay. So, it is independent. So, if you have a confusion here, we can indicate this instead of E as we can also show as a V. So, that means I naught is not a function of the applied voltage V, and it is not a function of electric field. It does not depend on these two parameters. It mainly depend on the electron hole pair generation EHP. Okay. As number of electron hole pairs increases, then corresponding current, here it is an I naught current. Okay. So, corresponding I naught keeps increasing. That is what we would like to clarify under this point here. Okay. So, whole current depends on the EHP generation, that is the current flowing from N side to the P side. It depends on the AHP generation within the diffusion length, because if you consider, if you move to the edge of this the N region, you know that the amount of diffusion is very less here. So, diffusion within this length, diffusion length here, maybe say for example, if I consider here this is an LP here, within this length. Okay. So, amount of EHP generation plays a significant role in deciding the current here. Okay. So, it depends on at what speed the EHP is generated. It does not depend on the electric field, it does not depend on the applied potential. Now, let us have a look at energy diagram here, energy level diagram here. This we have already seen for the photodiode. Once again we are seeing here, this is the current what we have said so far. I naught is the reverse saturation current. This current does not depend on the electric field what we have shown here. It does not depend on the voltage what we have applied across the P and N terminals here. It only depends on the EHP generation here. Now, you can substantially increase the EHP generation by injecting more and more photons into the neutral N region, neutral P region, and even into the depletion region here. So, when we inject the photons, it creates more and more electron hole pairs, and both in all the three regions electron hole pairs are generated, and that increases the I naught current here. Okay. So, I naught increases, it is proportional to the electron hole pair generation, and EHP generation is in turn proportional to the photons injected here. When more number of photons are injected, more EHP is generated and it results in more current here. Okay. I naught can be increased by increasing the EHP generation. That is what we have seen here. One convenient method for EHP generation is optical excitation here. So, that means we have seen here now to increase this the I naught here, the only way what we have is you need to increase the photons here, optical generation. This is nothing but optical generation. The generation rate, if you increase what we call GOP, if you increase this generation rate, then definitely the electron hole pairs generated keeps increases, that increases the reverse saturation current here to the larger extent here. Okay. That is what we are trying to clear here. So, you must apply H into mu. Okay. This is the photon energy that should be greater than the band gap energy. Okay. So, photon energy greater than the band gap energy excites electrons and it generates electron hole pairs, and that causes the I naught to increase here. Now, here let us connect this with the bipolar junction transistor now. Now, see here, as we said already, this is optical generation, or this photons the illuminated on these three regions plays an important role in increasing the current here. Okay. Now, if you can think of, instead of the optical generation here GOP, which is we are making the light photons to fall on this, and that is increasing the EHP generation. If you can think of some device here which can inject which can create here electron hole pairs, instead of the light here photons creating the electron hole pairs, if you can think of any alternative device that can generate this electron hole pair, definitely you can create some current between the N side to the P side here. So, that concept that diagram, conceptual diagram is as shown here. As you can see here, we have shown earlier the photons falling on this neutral N region and neutral P region, that is creating electron hole pairs in this N region and P region here. Now, in place of that, if I have some device, okay, I am not saying what device it is, this is a conceptual diagram. If I have some injector, hole injector here, if this device keep injecting holes here into this the N region here, what happens now here? If holes are injected to this N region here, okay. So, it creates electron hole pairs, and these electron hole pairs the field here, due to the diffusion process, these holes will be pushed into the P region and the corresponding electrons will be pushed in opposite way here, and it creates the current flow from the N side to the P side here. So, whatever the current we have seen due to the optical generation, now with the same current we can create it by using a conceptual device called as a hole injector. So, this injects hole to the N region here, and these holes are get diffused to the depletion region, and within the depletion region there is a electric field which is E. Now, this electric field will push this hole into the P region here, and as holes keep moving here, the I naught keeps increases. Okay. So, this is what the hole injector what we say here. Now, here this is what the question we asked ourselves here. Is it possible to inject minority carriers into the neighborhood of the junction electrically instead of optically? Previously, we have seen optically injecting the holes to the N region, and that create electron hole pairs, okay, and that causes the current to flow in the bit from N side to the P side here now. In place of that, if I have an alternative device like called as a hole injector, then definitely you can create an electron hole pair in the N side, and the field will cause charge transport mechanism, and it creates a current I naught here. The same current I naught what we have seen here, okay, due to the optical generation, it can be generated by even having a separate device called as a hole injector. So, this is an hypothetical hole injection device here. Okay. So, this device physically we are not using here to inject external holes externally to this N device here. There is an hypothetical hole injection device that we are considering here. But if you look at BJT, if you can inject holes at a predetermined rate into the N side of the junction, the effect of the effect on the junction current will be resemble the effects of optical generation now. Now, this device what you are seeing here, hole injection device to the N side, is almost similar to that of this device what you are seeing here. Okay. Due to the injection of photons, the amount of current that flows here is exactly same as the current that flows here due to the hole injector. There is no much difference. So, this is called, this diagram shows you the minority carrier injection by a hypothetical device here. This is a hole injector here, holes are injected here. This is called as a hole injector. So, holes are entered into the minority carriers are injected into the N region here. Now let us see here, instead of having this the hole injector with this kind of diagram what we have shown here, is it any alternative junctions we can create here so that it can inject holes to this? Let us see that here. So current flow from N to P depends on the hole injection rate and will be essentially independent of the bias voltage. This already we have seen that. I naught would vary very little for a change in the R value, therefore I naught is a controllable constant current here. This I naught current that is flowing is a controllable and it is a constant current. You can control that with the help of the hole injection in case of this hypothetical device, and same thing I naught can be controlled with photons, okay, in case of the optical device. Now here in place of the hole injector we can have the convenient hole injection device. Okay, you can have this type of device now here. Instead of the hole injector we can have a device like P plus N here. That means I am just making this, instead of having this hole inject this hypothetical device, to realize this the practically, in place of this we should have device something like this, P plus N. The hole injector or this hypothetical device now can be replaced with P plus N, another P N junction here, P plus N junction here. Now you compare this P plus N junction, this must be forward biased of course. If you want to inject the holes, this must be forward biased. That means you need to connect this P plus N device to P plus to the positive terminal and N to the negative terminal. Definitely holes will inject from P plus to the N here. Okay, so this is the direction of current here. Now you can think of this hypothetical device, its equivalent as P plus N, and look at this reverse biased P N junction which is shown here. Is it some connectivity with reference to transistor? Is there any connectivity of this diagram and this diagram with the bipolar junction transistor or PNP transistor? Instead of saying PNP, let me say P plus NP transistor. Of course, if you look at this diagram here, you can see here this P plus here, okay, and this N you can see here, this N region here, you can make exactly same as this N region here, and this P will be coming here. Okay, so that makes a transistor, right? Okay, I hope you got an idea of this hypothetical device, the reverse biased PN junction and continuous hole injection through this hypothetical device, that when you replace that with P plus N junction which is forward biased, it is already reverse biased here. So definitely if you can able to establish relationship between these two regions and this region, and it can be, you can understand the it is nothing but a P plus NP transistor here. So P plus N is nothing but this serves as a emitter, this serves as a base. This region can be made common with this region here, okay, so that this becomes a base region, and lastly we have a P plus region, this becomes a collector here. Okay, so with that we can make we can construct P plus NP transistor here. So that's what it is told here. If you can make N side a forward biased junction, same as the N side of the reverse biased junction, the P plus NP transistor structure will be resulted as you are seeing here. You can see here now, this already we have discussed, NP reverse biased PN junction. We said that we need to inject holes to this N region now. Now this hole injection will be done by this P plus N device which is usually forward biased. So this continuously inject the holes, and these holes injected from P plus region to the N region is collected by the this collector terminal here. Okay. Now you can observe here, this is a bipolar junction structure of a bipolar junction transistor. It's a P plus NP transistor, and let us illustrate each of this. The region here, this is the emitter region, base region, and this is a collector region here. Okay. And you can also see the dimension of this. This is going to be longer, you can see that here, and this is small, narrow, and this is again you can make it moderate here. Okay. And you can see the potential that we have applied here, P plus N, always it should be forward biased. You can see P plus is tied to the positive terminal of a battery here, and you can see this is kept, this junction is kept forward biased. So this junction can be interpreted as emitter junction. Let us call this as a emitter junction. This junction can be called as collector junction here. Okay. The width of the depletion region, you can see this is the edge of a depletion region to the emitter side, this edge of a depletion region to the collector side. This distance is nothing but the length of this the base region here. WB is nothing but the length of the base region here. Okay. And once we apply forward bias here, the holes will get inject from P plus region to the N region here like this. This is the direction of hole injection. And holes that are injected here, that will be collected by the collector like this here. And here this region should be lightly doped, because you need to avoid a recombination rate here. Here recombination should be reduced, because if you increase the recombination rate here, that itself will cause a base current here. So, therefore, recombination rate at the base in this region should be less. Recombination should be less. Okay. When the recombination rate at the base region is very less, all holes that are injected from P plus region to the N region will reach the collector, and this causes the current, continuous current to flow here. Okay. Earlier we mentioned that this is an I naught that is flowing from N to P region, and this current you can increase by continuously injecting holes into the N region, provided the recombination rate in the base region should be as small as possible here. So, this diagram shows you the forward biased emitter junction, reverse biased collector junction. So, here you can see that continuously I naught current will flow due to the reverse bias. Okay. Now, if you keep injecting the holes here, this current further it will increase now. Okay. And all holes which are emitted will be collected by the collector here. Okay. So, we will spend a lot of time in this the understanding the charge transport mechanism, charge distribution within each of these regions here. Okay. And one thing to pay attention is this WB. Okay. So, if we will discuss more about this. So, WB is nothing but it is a length of this the base region here. Okay. This length should be as small as possible here, because if you make it this length the wider, you are giving scope for more recombination here, because that means holes injected here will get recombined here, that causes the base current here, and very small number of holes will reach the collector here, and that causes the collector current here. In a device, if you look at the very good device will have the complete emitter current, that is or holes that are injected here should reach the collector here. That means the current IE should be equal to IC here with small amount of base current here. Okay. That is how the P plus NPN transistor works. The concept for NPN transistor is quite opposite that we have discussed here. With this configuration, what we have seen, forward biased emitter junction, reverse biased collector junction, injection of holes from P plus N junction into the center N region supplies the minority carrier holes. So, this is supplying P plus region is supplying minority carriers to the N region here. Okay, to the N region minority holes to participate in the reverse current here through the NP junction here. Okay. So, it is important that injected holes do not recombine in the N region, already we said about this, because they can diffuse to the depletion layer of the reverse bias junction. Thus, we must make the N region narrow compared to the hole diffusion length. Okay. So, this region must be very much narrow. If you make this length the very much wider, here more number of the holes injected here, they try to recombine here. Okay. So, the diffusion length of holes in this region should be compared to this the WB. So, WB must be the very much less compared to the diffusion length. So, here diffusion length is nothing but which we take it as LP. Okay. This LP stands for, it is nothing but diffusion length for holes in the N region here. So, compared to this, okay, WB must be made very small compared to this diffusion length here. Okay. So, this is what the condition here, WB must be made very much less compared to the diffusion length in the base region here. So, in such case, the recombination rate in the base region will be very less. So, more holes injected here will be passed on to the collector here. Okay. Now, let us define terminals here. As I told you in this topic, especially remember that what topic we are going to discuss, what topic we are discussing here. It is nothing but fundamentals of BJT. Okay. So, look at our topic, fundamentals of BJT operations. We are not specific to any characteristics here. We are just discussing a basics of the BJT here. Okay. So, in between, if you have any questions, you can also ask. We are going to study thoroughly. We are going to go more deeper and understand the operation, solid understanding of the BJT is discussed in this topic here. Okay. Now, let us try to understand each of this terminal. Emitter junction, we already know that if this is going to be the BJT, now BJT is made up of the three regions here. The first is nothing but P plus, this is N and P here, this is the emitter junction, This is collector junction. Now, we will define what is this emitter junction. The forward bias junction that inject holes into the center N region of a PNP transistor is called emitter junction. So, I hope you understand this definition. The emitter junction should be forward biased, and this forward bias junction injects holes into the N region here, okay, N region of a PNP transistor. This is called emitter junction here. Now, let us look at into the collector junction here. The reverse biased junction, this junction is reverse biased. How do we reverse bias it? Connect P to the negative and N to the positive here, okay. So, this terminal here N serves as a common for both P plus N and NP here, okay. That is why it is the configuration what you have seen here is common base configuration, because base is common for both input and output. So, this is the common base here, which is common for, this is grounded here, this is common for both input side and the output side here, okay. Collector junction already we said it is a reverse bias junction that collects the injected holes emitted by the emitter in a PNP transistor, that is called as a collector junction here. Next, let us see terminals now, emitter terminal. So, the P plus region in a PNP transistor which serves as a source of injected holes is called emitter terminal. By the name itself, you can see that emitter means which emits. In this case, our emitter is emitting the holes into the P region here. That is why it is called as an emitter terminal here. This injects holes into the N region here. Collector, that means something is collecting. Okay. So, P region in the P region is called as a collector. This is a PNP transistor into which the holes are swept by the reverse bias junction is called the collector. As you are seeing in the PNP transistor here, the holes which are injected from this region. Okay. So, within this depletion region, they are swept into this P region here. Okay. So, because the depletion region has got strong electric field, it is reverse biased here. So, this all this the holes injected from the emitter that are swept through this electric field here. So, this is called as a collector terminal. The terminal what to attach to this, which collects the holes injected from the emitter by sweeping in the within the depletion region of the collector. So, that is called as a collector terminal here. Base terminal, this is nothing but a center N region is called as a base terminal here. This is what base, which is center. In this diagram, you can see that the center terminal is called this. For this region, if you attach the terminal, this is called the base. This region must be narrow, and the length of the base should be very much less than the diffusion length for the woods here. So, you are allowing less recombination within this. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask here at this point of time. Okay. I hope you understood little fundamentals about the BJT. If you are okay with that, let me move on to the current flow in the PNP transistor. Okay. This is a continuation of the previous the material what we are seeing here. Okay. Okay. So, let us now see the transistor configurations. If you observe here, since transistor has got 3 terminal, okay, so one of them is emitter terminal, this is what the emitter terminal, base terminal and collector terminal here. Having 3 terminals here like emitter, base and collector, okay, how many configurations you can connect here? So, obviously, you can make it the 3 different configurations. Each time you are going to make one terminal as a common between both input and output here. So, now we are seeing here there are 3 configurations here because of 3 terminals. Each time each configuration you are going to make one terminal as common between input and output here. Okay. So, let us see here 3 different configuration here. The first configuration is common base configuration. So, base is made common between the emitter and the collector here. You are seeing here symbolic representation of the P plus NP transistor. This is the symbol of P plus NP transistor. P plus NP transistor. Look at this arrow mark. Arrow mark is inward here. This always arrow mark tells the emitter, indicates it is an emitter. Arrow mark if it is inward, it is a P plus NP transistor. Arrow mark if it is outward, it is an N plus P N transistor. Okay. So, as I told you already in most of our discussion, we will be using P plus NP transistor here. So, this is symbolic representation of P plus NP transistor. So, arrow mark is inward, that indicates the conventional direction of current flow. So, here you can see here the base is made common between input and output here. The actual circuit you already seen, this is what called as a common base config. Base is made common between the input, this is an input here in this case, and output we take it between the collector and the base. Okay. So, that is the common base configuration here. Okay. And next is common emitter configuration, where you are going to make emitter as common terminal between input and output here. Look at the this diagram which has been rotated, you can see here now. Okay, it has been rotated and it has been flipped here, that is what you are seeing. This is for common emitter configuration here. So, in this case the input is nothing but applied between the base and the emitter, output is taken between collector and the emitter. So, this emitter serves as a common between for both input and output. Here you are going to take output between emitter and the collector here. So, this kind of configuration is called as common emitter configuration. Lastly, we have a common collector configuration. So, collector is made common for the both base and the emitter. You can see that now this has been flipped and this arrow mark has gone above now. So, now you can see here between the base and the collector we apply the input, between this we apply the input, okay, between the ground, and we take output between emitter and the collector. Okay, so, this collector is usually grounded and we take output between emitter and the collector. So, this kind of configuration is called as a common collector configuration. The question rises here, which configuration is most widely used? Okay. If you observe the characteristics, you can easily make out that common emitter configuration is one of the most widely used configuration, because there are several parameters, the performance matrix which gives in favor of the application. Therefore, common emitter configuration is one of the most widely used configuration. Okay, especially when we want to use BJT as an amplifier, BJT as a switch, we mainly focus on connect BJT in the common emitter configuration. In special cases, we also use common base configuration as well as common collector configurations. Now, the good PNP transistor, let us see that what kind of transistor is a good PNP transistor. You have seen here, you are seeing here the same PNP transistor, P plus NP transistor with all three terminals, emitter, collector and the base, and you can see you are seeing here the currents also, terminal currents, IE here, IB and as well as the IC here. Okay. Terminal current, these are called terminal currents here. There is an emitter region and we are showing here the depletion region across the emitter junction. There is a depletion region here across the collector junction here, and WB is nothing but it is the length of this the base region here. The transistor that would collect almost all transistor injected by the emitter to the base, you can see this arrow mark shows that all injected holes that are reaching the collector here. That means, if you can have a PNP transistor with base current as 0, that will be the very good PNP transistor. Okay. That is what we told here. For a good PNP transistor, the holes that are injected from the emitter should reach the collector. That means, there must be 0 base current here. So, such kind of the transistor is called a good PNP transistor here. So, the base region must be narrow, that is what we told here, and the whole lifetime tau p should be very long. Okay, so, that is another condition here, and there is no recombination in the base region here. So, you should not give scope for the recombination within the base region, that is why base region is made very narrow. Okay. WB to define it is going to be a length of the neutral N material of the base region measured between the depletion regions of the emitter and the junctions here. In some textbook you see this the WB they may indicate this to this, okay, but that is wrong, that is not correct. WB is nothing but it is the length of this length of the in the base region between these two depletion regions here. This is the depletion region on the emitter junction side, and this is a depletion region on the collector junction side. This distance is nothing but the WB, which is nothing but the base length of the neutral N material in the base region here. Okay. LP is nothing but it is a diffusion length for holes in the base region. This LP is very important because this LP should be very much large compared to the WB. That's the reason here we are defining WB and LP here. So, we will have a different conditions here, cases here. We will discuss this little bit later. What cases will come across, we will just illustrate here itself. The requirement is, as we are showing here, for a good PNP transistor, WB should be very much less than the LP here. And we will also discuss in the next class, in the coming class, what happens when you make WB far greater than LP. This is case 1, we will discuss this. Case 2 is when you make WB exactly equal to LP, what is going to happen. And case 3, we are going to discuss when you make WB very much less than diffusion length for holes, what is going to happen. Expected is this for a good PNP transistor, but also we need to discuss other cases like WB far greater than LP and WB exactly equal to LP here. Okay, we will discuss all 3 cases here. LP is nothing but it is a diffusion length for holes in the base region here. Okay, so the formula for that is LP is equal to half of dP tau p to the power of half. This can be written as LP is equal to square root of dP into tau p. dP means it is a diffusion constant for holes, and tau p is nothing but lifetime of holes here. Lifetime of holes should be larger, okay, and LP also should be larger. So, therefore, WB must be very small. So, this is the main requirement for a good PNP transistor design here. Okay. So, I will stop at this point, and if you have any questions you can ask me here before we proceed to the requirements. In the next class we will discuss here about there are totally requirements, the 2 to 3 requirements that we need to meet here, and finally we will discuss all these currents that are flowing in the P plus NP transistor. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. If you don't have questions here, try to wind up today's class, and next class I would like to discuss the 2 requirements for a good PNP transistor, and then we will discuss different currents that flows in the transistor. Following this we will discuss even um, terminal currents, basically terminal currents, and its DC and AC currents also we will discuss, that we will come across in the amplification. When we make use of BJT as an amplifier, we will come across different the currents here, that also we will discuss in the coming class here. And today's class we understood the just fundamentals of BJT and different regions, and the region, the current flow, and the base width and base length actually, and its diffusion length. So, those things were discussed. Next class we will focus on the requirements and using BJT as an amplifier. Okay. With that I will stop here, and next class I would like to